Number one, Don Francisco. Don won Rookie of the Year last year. He also won the March Madness contest last year. Garrett Hollyfield, come on up. Garrett was number 2 last year. In fact, Garrett's he's kind of known now as a runner-up. He was runner-up to Don. He was runner-up in beach football, whoever played beach football. Runner-up in basketball. Let's bring up also Brian Celestine. Brian's up for Sales Manager of the Year tonight and Agent of the Year. And then also Jeremy Weiss from Ohio. You guys, when you think about it, there's really 4 ways that you can get better and that you can improve your personal sales. We're going to dissect all 4 of them. Number 1 is you get in front of more people. Right? If you can learn how to get more effective getting in front of people, that's one way to boost your income. Number 2 would be learn how to close at a higher percentage. So you see the same amount of people, but if you can close higher, that's going to boost your income. 3 would be learn how to sell more value. Learn how to sell higher face amounts, higher average premium. And then the 4th way would be to become more efficient with your back end, with the business that you are writing, being able to keep that business on the books. So we're going to get into all 4 of those too. And think about this, guys. Sometimes it's the slightest difference. It's the little techniques that you pick up. It's the little habits, the little tips that make all the difference. It's like in baseball. How many of y'all know the difference between a 200 hitter and a 300 hitter? It seems like a very small difference, doesn't it? Two hits out of 10 versus 3. Garrett, you know all about this. Garrett was a 200 hitter. In fact, we've got his baseball coach here somewhere. He'll validate that. So it seems like a very slight difference, right? But it makes all the difference. A 200 hitter can't even sustain. He can't stay in the league. That's why Garrett now is selling insurance. A 300 hitter is earning a multi-billion-dollar income as a 300 hitter and playing a game that he loves. Now, let's take it a little bit higher. Let's increase it and say that from 300, you can get 1 extra hit out of 20 at-bats. What does that do? That boosts your average now from 300 to 350, and you're an all-star, you're a Hall of Famer, you're one of the best in the business at what you do. So, guys, get ready to take notes here. It's going to go rapid fire. We're going to go quick, and you're not going to want to miss this. Take notes, figure out some ways that you can get better on approach. We're going to get into presentation also, some presentation tips. We're going to do some objections, do a little bit of role-playing too. So let's start with this. I think the most important sale, and you could argue that there's different things here, but I think the most important sell is selling your way into the house. If you can't first get into a house, what's the chances you're going to make the sale? Now, there's multiple ways you can do it, over the phone and book appointments or at the door. So we're going to hit from both angles here. We'll start with the door approach. As Craig talked about this morning, if you can't get good at the door, you're not going to be able to sustain in this business long term. If you can't get good on your door approach, it's going to be tough to get good on the phone also. All of these guys are avid door knockers. We'll start with Don first, as he set the pace last year. He won Rookie of the Year, won the March Madness championship with what, $25,000 in a week?
Yes, sir.
$25K in 1 week. Hey, I'm excited about starting our March Madness contest again, giving Garrett another shot starting next week. But let's start with door approach, and we'll start with the most basic lead type, the platinum lead. It's honestly the easiest lead to sell. It's the freshest lead. So, Don, let's talk about platinum approach at the door, maybe go real time, and then anything as far as thought process that you want to get across there.
Yep, easy to do. Thank you. First of all, I want to say it's an honor and a privilege for all these guys to share the stage with me tonight. What I do is, all right, kidding. All right, it's so simple. Last year, if you were here, you remember the 4, sorry my voice is a little hoarse, but the 4 keys that I use. It's so simple. You have that lead. Hello, Mr. Smith, how are you? I'm Don Francisco with North American Senior Benefits. Just let you know, we got the card that you sent in, and the good news is you do qualify for the program. Just need a couple minutes to go over it with you. You know, eyebrows up, smiling, happy. 4 things, write them down. I promise you, I've whittled this down from all of the greats on the call, taken what's worked for me, what hasn't worked, and I've put it down to this. Number 1, greeting. Hi, I'm Alan Thomas with North American Senior Benefits. 2, we got the card that you sent in. 3, the good news is that you qualify for the program. And 4, I need a few minutes. Real quick, the psychology on it. 1, greeting. Obviously, you want to introduce yourself and you want to be, really happy, smiling. 2, we say, we got the card that you sent in. You're not asking them, did you send it? You're not asking them, did you sign it? You're not asking them anything. You're telling them, we got it. The third thing is the good news is you qualify, because who doesn't love good news? Everybody loves good news. The fourth thing is I just need a few minutes to go over it with you. It all happens so fast, rapid fire. They think they got something. They let you in. I don't care how good your presentation is. If you're not in front of people, you're not going to make sales.
Guys, if you heard Don last year, his first tip was act like you're supposed to be there. And I think your analogy was a UPS man or FedEx man. They don't walk awkwardly or timidly to the door. They walk up to a door and deliver the package like they're supposed to be there. If you can switch that mentality in your head, if you're struggling with that, and if you're feeling awkward, the client, I guarantee you the client's going to be able to feel that from you. Let's go to Garrett next. Actually, before we do, Don, give us your best month. What was the best month in deposits so far with NASB?
Okay, the calendar month, it's probably right around 35 to 36,000. But if I got to sneak that one extra week, where I had those 2 record weeks, it's got to be higher, a lot higher. But yeah, but I'll take 35 every month.
Let's move on. Garrett, same question. What's your best calendar month so far in deposits?
I'd say 21.
21 plus. All right. Not too shabby. Not Don's level yet, but pretty good.
Apparently I lost.
And let's do same question. Platinum approach.
Yep.
That's your bread and butter. Give us your door approach and any thought process behind it.
A lot of it's the same thing as Don. I think it goes for everybody here. The same thing goes for the approach for everybody. But one good thing that I will have to say that I do, and I try to teach this as well, is when you're going up, smile when you're going to the door. I mean, they might be even seeing you out of that window, and they might be looking at it and say, who is this? They're looking and staring through this. They don't know. You're right. So they see you coming through, but they don't know why you're there. Smile, wave, do whatever you have to get them or get you more comfortable with them. I think that's really been my approach to coming up to a door. It's doing the same thing like Don does. You qualified for the new 2015 benefits program. You have a few minutes just to go over it. Of course, you're going to get your objections, but I think that's something we'll go into after this. But smile, wave, do the things that most people wouldn't.
As most clients are going to reciprocate how you approach them. If you come stone-faced and you come threatening or if they don't like you at the door, you've got a split second to make your first reaction when they open the door. And a smiling face usually is going to put a guard down. It's going to make them feel a little bit less, or at least you a little bit less threatening to the client, and you'll see usually they reciprocate it back. Brian, same question. Platinum approach, also best month so far with NASB.
Best month has been about 28-30. As far as my approach, as soon as I pull into the driveway, I'm smiling. Right, I get out, I wave at the house, smiling. I walk up to the door, I'm smiling the whole way. Right, when they open the door, I smile bigger. Right, right. And then I say, hey Jill. Don't say, are you? I say, hey Jill. Yes, my name is Brian Celestine. I'm a benefits coordinator here in Texas. You recently filled out this card, hold it eye level, and then point with your finger requesting information on the new state-regulated life insurance program for all Texas citizens aged 50 to 85, and you signed here, you put your information here, then take a step forward and at the same time say, do you have a moment? Drop in tone, do you have a moment? And that's my present.
Love it, love it. Hey, guys, I've learned that at every single door a sale is going to be made. You're either selling your way in or they're selling you that they're either not interested, don't have time, whatever the excuse is. Don't let the client sell you. You know they're interested, especially if it's a platinum lead. You know at some point there was some sort of interest for them to take the time, fill the card out, mail it back to you. There's got to be an interest, even if they don't act like it. It's not going to be a laydown. We're not in the business of capturing laydown sales. And like we said yesterday, we don't want that. Anything too easy, we don't want. We want it to be a little bit difficult. The more difficult it is, the more adversity, the more rewarding it's going to be. Now, Jeremy, you have a little bit different approach. You've got Lindsay in your corner, so you guys are great at booking appointments, setting these up. So now instead of showing up at the door unexpected, they already know you're coming. Speak to people that want to get better on their phone approach. What are some of the things that you and Lindsay do to be able to set up your day?
Well, I'm very blessed to have Lindsay in my corner. She's, beautiful, talented, and she's made an art form out of setting appointments for me. So she's, I think with her being on my team, to be honest with you, her and Callie kind of formulated the appointment setting throughout the year. And when we got to convention last year, they heard Don Francisco's door approach. And so she actually shortened her script to kind of make it more of, more quicker, faster, kind of punching between the eyes. It's a lot easier when I get to a house and I walk in. I say, you talked to Miss Lindsay on the phone. You know what? She made me a little note and said, you were very sweet to her. That's actually my wife as well. Leads me right into FORT, Family, Occupation, Recreation, Transition. They kind of feel like they're part of a family at that point. So it gives me an edge when I'm in the house. They've already talked to her, and now they get to talk to me, the benefits coordinator.
Love it. What are some of the main objections that you guys have found maybe on phone approaches that you've had to be able to overcome?
Man, I tell you what, if Lindsay, I don't want to get this wrong, she's so good at what she does, I leave that arena to her, but a lot of times she'll get people that say, you know, everyone gets those people that say, well, I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. And Lindsay's like, oh, you know what, that's just fine. We all know that the doctor's office closes at 5 o'clock, so I'll send my benefits coordinator by between 6 and 7. She doesn't ask, she tells them. If they give her another objection, it's just a matter of kind of finding a time where they'll be available to get me in front of them. And her goal, or her job as the appointment setter, is simply to put me face-to-face with them. Any objections at the door, whatever, that's my job to overcome, but I need a meeting point so I can get in front of those people to be able to get in their house.
Love it. Guys, you've got to find what you're better at, though. There are some people that are going to be better at setting up appointments over the phone. To be honest, I'm better on the phone than I am at the door. Now, I'm still committed to door knocking because there's certain people that won't answer the phone. They'll tell you no over the phone, whatever. You're not going to be able to catch everybody at the door, but same thing. You won't be able to catch everybody on the phone. So eventually you want to get to the point where you've developed your game to the point that you're effective on both approaches. One thing our team's doing that having great success with is a day of phone call. So we get in the car, we're on the way to our leads, we've got 10 or 20 leads to door knock in a certain zip code. We start making phone calls of those leads to see who's going to be home. And the phone call goes a lot like this. Now, first thing I'll say is you want to talk kind of slow with seniors, but also quick through transitions. The quicker you talk in the transitions, it eliminates people interrupting you. It eliminates rebuttals and objections. An ideal phone call, you're not going to get any objection. So if I'm calling, say, Craig Harvey, and he's a new platinum lead, and I'm on the road all the way, already heading to my zip code, I'll make a phone call to see if he's home. And what I like to do is kind of shock them with their first name. Works great for us. How many of you guys use the first name of the lead at the door and on the phone? So if Craig answers the call, I'll say, Craig, I almost want to come across as an old friend, just to kind of set him at ease. And typically, you get a great response. He'll say, yeah, who's this? Or sometimes they'll say, hey, how you doing? So we use their first name. Craig, he says, yeah, who's this? Hey, Mr. Harvey, I'm sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jordan. I'm actually the local benefits coordinator for X County. We're the ones, Mr. Harvey, that send the cards in the mail offering the state-regulated benefits that we help with. And my job's real simple, Mr. Harvey. Gosh, we've had so many people respond back, but my job's just simply to help you get qualified for some of those benefits. I'm sorry it took so long to get back with you. I am in the area today. In fact, I've got a few other appointments. I do have some time here around lunch. Tell you what, are you home right now? You see, throughout this whole conversation, they've never said one thing except for hello. Now, if they say they're home, our next line is, well, tell you what, I've got a busy schedule this afternoon. Since you're home now, I've got a free spot in my schedule. I'll go ahead and swing by right now, say hello, answer any questions, and drop the information off. And if you find Scott Davis or anybody, Chris Canrobert, anybody, Garrett Hollyfield, your team does this, great results. Plus, it eliminates you driving somewhere where the person's not home. You know they're home. They've answered the phone. They just told you they were home. Now, if they're on their way out or whatever, you can't get in right then, you can then book the appointment for later. Okay? One thing I would say, too, is you don't want to blow the lead just because you may catch somebody having a bad day. They might have just gotten bad news. They might have just been in an argument. Some of our best sales come from people that say no up front the first time we approach them. So get good at saving the lead. If you get a no on the phone or even at the door, say, Mr. Fransco, I apologize. I understand this must be a bad time for you. But since you took the time to fill the card out, we actually went out of our way and got the information for you. I'll make sure I keep you on our list. And what we'll do is we'll follow up with you in the future. It's very non-threatening, very relaxed. They normally say okay to that, but it gives you permission then to follow back up to door knock in the future. Let's go next to check leads because check leads, I love them. I mean, our team sells more check leads than platinum leads. Who on this panel has been selling check leads? Don, I know you have. Let's hear your approach. It's probably very similar, but do you change anything on check leads versus platinum?
Absolutely, I do. For those keeping score, I'm winning right now. What I do with the check leads, it's a commanding lead too. I do the same thing with the platinums. It's just a little bit of the verbiage is different. First thing, greeting, same thing in the greeting. Hey, I'm Alan Thomas with North American Senior Benefits. Or I'm Don Fransco with North American Senior Benefits. And I'd like to say this. I'm the guy that sent you a check a few weeks ago. Yep. And the good news is you actually qualified for that program. And I just need a couple minutes to go over it with you. Same thing. 1, greeting. 2, I'm the guy, because I am. And 3, the good news is you qualify, and I just need a few minutes. I'm not asking them, I'm telling them I need it.
Guys, check leads simply gets you into more homes that you wouldn't get in if you're limited and platinum lead dependent. then you're limiting yourself to just people that fill out platinum leads. But if you're willing to try different lead types, telemarketed leads, check leads, you're going to get into a whole different income level. Well, isn't that right, Don? It seems like the more check leads we get into, we're starting to find more discretionary income. We're finding clients that haven't seen any other insurance agents. My first check lead I ever worked was one of the easiest ones, and the lady was paying $270 a month already, had been for years, and we could save her $40 a month. Don, what about, let's just say on check leads, stay on this for a minute. Let's say they give you an objection like, well, what exactly is this? You sent me a check. What information, what do you do?
Well, whenever somebody asks me that, my old thinking was, well, I don't want to say it's life insurance. But now if they straight up ask me, I just tell them, this is the new state-regulated life insurance program, and you guys are on the list and you qualify, and that's why you got this. Because there's a really good chance about half the people we help, we really can save them a lot of money and help them. The other half we can't, and that's all right if that's you, but it would be a shame if you didn't at least find out about it. Yeah. I just tell them exactly what it is now.
Guys, did y'all hear Craig's joke he made earlier about the check leads? Joking about not doing all your Christmas shopping with it, not paying your mortgage with it. We found that we do the exact same approach as platinum leads, except we throw in a little bit of humor at the beginning. Hey, Mr. Fransco, sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jordan. We're the ones that send the cards offering the state-regulated benefits. You may remember the card you got. It was the one that had the $5 check attached to it. Do you remember getting that done?
Yeah.
They always go, yes. Say, no, I hope you didn't do all your Christmas shopping with it. I hope you didn't pay your mortgage with it, did you? Whatever they say, you try to get them laughing, but you also want to reciprocate. If you can tell they're straight to business, then you want to get straight to business. But one line that works great for us, too, if they ask, well, what kind of benefits do you help with? I know you sent the check. What do you help with? We like to use one line where we say, well, Mr. Fransco, it kind of depends what you need help with. A little bit too much to go into over the phone, a little bit too much to go into at the door, whichever one you're approaching. So that's giving you kind of an out to try to describe everything. But we simply help Mr. Fransco with anything that Medicare or Social Security doesn't. And that's true. If you're using the living benefit approach, that gives you an angle there that we help with anything Medicare's not. If you have any prescriptions that you're paying full price, vision, Social Security, it says right on the lead card they got, only pays $255 towards burial. So we're filling in the gaps for things that Medicare or Social Security does not cover. And the important thing for you to know, Mr. Fransco, is we did get you approved for some of the benefits. Only takes a few minutes. Let's see if we can save you some more money. Usually, I've been talking to people that have been selling these at a high level. The clients feel more obligated because we sent them something. Okay, so don't feel afraid to hold them to that. Any of you guys working telemarketed leads, phone leads? Brian, let's give your phone lead approach. Let's say you just got a new batch in from the home office. A little bit different because the client's expecting a phone call. Do you call them first or do you door knock them?
I'll call first.
Okay.
Hi, Jill. Yes, my name is Brian Celestine. I'm a benefits coordinator here in Texas, and you recently received a call from the ladies at Senior Life letting you know to expect a call from me. I'll be in your area Tuesday or Wednesday. Which one would be better for you?
Love it. And what I found too, guys, if you're a better door knocker, you can door knock phone leads just the same. Don't feel like you have to call them just because the recording does. What I would do, though, print out the spreadsheet, and then still, Brian, have your platinum leads in hand. So on your clipboard, you've got a batch of leads where they can see that you're busy. They can see that you've got a lot of people to follow back up with. Then you have the spreadsheet printed out of the telemarketed lead. We get great results with those as well. Let's go to gold, silver, bronze, because this really separates you. A lot of new agents in the room. As new agents, you may need to sell some of the older leads first. You may need to get good and practice. What I found is on gold and silver leads, you typically make more money per dollar invested than you do on platinum. Jeremy, you sold 10,000 last week on gold and silver, right?
Yes, sir.
10,000 plus. How many gold leads did you buy?
I think I bought 68 at $7 a pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you break that down per dollar, how much he made per dollar spent on leads,
yeah.
Incredible return. What was your approach? Did you treat them different than platinum? What worked for you?
I think your mentality has to be different. Your mentality has to be that there's money in them. If you look at it as a gold lead and you're like, oh, it's just a gold lead, or oh, it's just a silver lead or a bronze lead, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. So if you just have a mentality that your activity has to be high, I knew the leads were older, so I think the approach when you use a gold lead or an older lead is that you almost have to revive the lead when you get to the door. And thankfully, I worked for a really crappy IMO before where I had to sell a Walmart lead and, had to revive that lead card, so I was good at that. But it's just reviving that lead, making sure that mentally you really stick to your schedule because you're going to get beat up sometimes when you have gold leads. People are going to, kick you off their porches. They're going to throw you out. But if you just have the mentality that this is my schedule, I'm going to go see as many freaking people as I can, and you're going to be successful. You're going to have success on them. There's a lot of agents who simply, work their platinum leads, and they don't have, they kind of just get the good ones off the top, and they bypass them. So there's always money in those gold leads. Just have the right mentality.
Let's go to Garrett next. Same question. Garrett's got a lot of new agents on his team. They've been selling the crap out of gold, silver leads. His sister, Mallory, is averaging like 6,000 to 8,000 a week, mostly on silver leads. Julie, same thing. Who else? Zach Gurley will write 5,000 to 8,000 any given week on gold, silver. What is your team doing to have such good success there?
Well, how many of y'all actually use gold leads? I mean, how many people buy them? Yes, sir. And why do you buy them? Cheap, right? It's more people to see, right? A lead is a lead. It doesn't matter if it's a platinum or it's a gold, a silver, or bronze. It's a lead. And a lot of times people's needs have changed since the last time somebody saw them. Hopefully you're getting somebody that was not as good as you are as the first agent, right? You want somebody that was just horrible. But you don't want it because, that might be somebody on your team. But you definitely want to take the same approach as a platinum is what I do. Same approach, because the people, they need this insurance. They might have changed. They might have dropped their insurance last time, since the last time somebody was out there. A number of different things can change in somebody's life in a matter of 6 months. So that's the way I treat them, as the same as a platinum. The only way that we know the difference in the platinum and the gold, silver, bronze is the way they look. Of course, the way they look, the presentation of them. So that's really, I think, the difference between a gold, a silver, a bronze, and a platinum is really the look. It's the same approach.
Listen, I don't care how good somebody is. Don may be the best in the company at platinum leads. If he spends $100 on platinum, which gets him 4 leads, and Garrett spends $100 on silver, which gets him 5 times as many,
I'm winning.
20 leads. Garrett's going to win every single time. There's not a chance because of activity. My mic go out.
Yo.
Hey, Mike, my mic on? Mike died. All right. So Garrett's going to win every single time because sheer activity's got 5 times as many people to see as does Don. So if you're not getting enough activity in, guys, start upping your gold, silver lead counts, bronze leads. An easy line to use. Use the same exact approach that's working for you. Just throw in that we have the new 2015 benefits, especially this time of year being early in the year. Ms. Jones, we have the new 2015 benefits. I understand you must have mailed this back last year. They send me simply out each year to make sure we review that you're still getting all the benefits you may be entitled to. Things change each year. You wouldn't believe how many people we're saving money right now. Only takes a few minutes. Let's make sure you're getting everything that you're entitled to. Great way to get more activity. Let's go to referrals next. We'll start with Brian, because Brian's probably the best, maybe the best in the room at referrals. What are some things, Brian, your team's doing? How do they generate them? What do you say to get them? And then how do you approach them?
Well, I do the same thing every time. It's really the technique. I'll take the lead card. I'll say, now, Ms. Johnson, do you have any questions about anything? Okay, good. Now, I'll turn the lead card over, and I'll say, most people that I talk to give me 4 or 5 people I can introduce myself to. Who comes to mind? Then put your head down and do like you're about to write, right? And you want to drop in tone. Now, they'll say, oh, I don't like to give out referrals. Well, what we're going to do, we can actually give them that card that'll save them on their prescriptions, their glasses, their frames, their contacts. With the economy the way that it is, everybody can use a bit of savings. Who comes to mind? Oh, I don't do that. Ms. Johnson, I know you got a few names. I know you probably got 100 names in your phone. Go ahead and grab your phone, right? And sometimes I'll grab the phone for them, hand it to her, or I'll go to the phone book, hand it to her, and get referrals like that. And, oh, I don't do that, Ms. Johnson. I have to get some names or else my boss is going to be upset with me. I'm my boss. I'll be upset if I don't get any names, so just so that my boss doesn't get on me, just give me at least one name, right? And then, Ms. Johnson will feel sorry for me and give me at least one name.
All right, same question for Garrett. Garrett's big on referrals too. Garrett, how do you ask for them? How do you work them?
One good thing that I do as soon as I get in the house, I start looking at pictures in their house. How many of you guys go in a house and there's pictures everywhere of family members, everything, right? So I do that. I'm also very observant about other things. If there's toys on the ground, if there is, memorabilia on the wall, I'll start looking at that, and I'll make sure that is a comeback point to me. I know they have kids. I know they have grandkids. I know they have aunt and uncle, cousins, whoever, and the whole family. So I ask that in a presentation. I keep asking them, like he said, FORT, family, occupation, recreation, transition. Family's number one. I spend a lot of time on that because I want to know where their family is. If I know that their family's in Nevada and I'm here in Charlotte, I'm probably not going to be able to get in front of those people. But if I know they have a family or loved ones or close ones here in the area, or at least where I'm working at, I know to hit on those people. So that would be somebody else. They're more likely to give you a referral of a family member or a good friend than they are, somebody else that may be a neighbor. Because nowadays, people really don't talk to their neighbors. Some of them do if they've been there for 30 years at the house, but some of them don't. So that can give you, that's an objection that you can overcome, whenever they say that.
I guess y'all want to go rapid fire real quick on objections?
Hey, real quick, I want to say when calling a referral, the way that I'll do it, I'll say, hey, Jill, smile, right? Because they can hear your smile over the phone. Yes, my name is Brian Celestine. I'm a benefits coordinator here in Texas. And I recently sat down with your cousin, Jill. I was able to help her with her life insurance and her burial insurance. And she said you would be a good person for me to meet with. What I'd like to do is just come by for a few minutes and give you my personal brochure. So if you need something in the future, perhaps you can think of me. I have some time available Tuesday or Wednesday. Which one will be better for you? And if you put it off to the future, they don't feel any obligation. And then when I go into the home, I'll still do the same presentation. I'm not talking about the future then. I'm talking about, right now, same presentation.
Now y'all see why Brian's up for 2 awards.
Wow.
Agent of the Year and Sales Manager. All right, let's go quick and let's go some objections. Real time, whoever wants to take it, jump in. Let's say you're at the door, you're knocking, they say, I just don't have time. I don't have time right now. Who wants it? Jeremy.
So I don't have time right now. You know what? I don't have a whole lot of time either. I've actually got to see just about everyone in your neighborhood today. But you do qualify for the new state regulated senior benefits programs. And since I am the local benefits coordinator, I'm required to get this to you. Well, I got to go do this. You know what? This is your signature on the card, right? Yeah, okay, good. Listen, it's only going to take a couple of minutes. I got to make sure that since you did sign this, I'm required to get you this information. I just need a few minutes of your time. Look for the nonverbal communication, the yes, the no's. And then as you're doing that, nonverbal walking towards the door to go in.
I guess you're definitely going to want to take notes on some of these one-liners here. Number 2, I don't remember filling that out. Who wants it? Garrett's stepping up.
You don't remember filling it out? Well, do you remember this signature right here? What are they going to say after that? No, that's not my signature. Well, then somebody's forging your mail.
Let's go next. I'm not interested. I just changed my mind, Don. Not interested anymore.
Change your mind about what? This thing? You don't even know what it is? Yeah, well, I'm just not interested. Well, that's okay. I have a job to do here. You actually filled this out, and you do qualify for this, and that's why I'm here. And I just have to get this information to you. It'll only take a few minutes. I promise you, I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I promise. And I've done that before.
Okay. I'm already covered. Already got insurance. Let's say you're at the door. I've already got insurance. I'm good. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Brian.
Okay, most people that we talk to, Ms. Johnson, actually do have some type of coverage, so I commend you for doing that. But being that you filled out this card and you signed here, always blame it on the card. I am obligated to go over this information. Take a step forward. Do you have a moment?
Okay. What about, can you come back later? I'm busy. I'm right in the middle of something. Just got out of the shower. Can you come back? Jeremy.
Depending on how many objections I get, if I get like 3 or 4 objections, I will set an appointment time for later on that evening. But typically, I'm really busy. I go back to I'm really busy as well. This is the last time that I'll be in your area today. Between this time and this time, it really only takes about 5 or 10 minutes to figure out if there's something that I can do for you. And then, like I said, any more objections, I set an appointment.
Okay. Let's say at the door they try to rush you and say, this is life insurance. Can you just give me the price? Just leave me some quotes. Leave me a brochure. Who's got something lethal for this?
All right, so if you want me to leave it, so if you want me to just give you a price, I'll give you the lowest price possible, but does that mean you're going to get all the discounts? You're going to get people who say, well, I saw on TV that I can get it for $10 or $9.99. And did they not say that? $9.99, right? A unit. Per unit. $9.99. I like $9.99. Per dollar. But here's what I say. I said, you know what? You could actually get more discounts than what you can see on TV. I was like, there's other things out there. And it's my job just to sit down with you for 15 minutes and make sure you get those discounts.
Okay. Let's say they hit you with the most common one. Who are you again, or what do you do? What kind of benefits are these?
Yes, my name is Brian Celestine. I'm a benefits coordinator here in Texas. What we do is we deal with all the people in the community and let them know about their life insurance, what they qualify for. And again, I am obligated to go over this information. Only take a few minutes. Do you have a moment? And, to kind of add on to what he said as far as, if someone says that I am licensed through the state of Texas, so we deal with all the top carriers in the state of Texas. So what we're going to do is we're going to shop it around. But since we deal with so many carriers, Ms. Johnson, what I have to do is ask you a few questions to see which company will be the best fit for you and what will be the best price that we can get you.
Love it. All right, Don wants to give one if they slam the door in his face.
It's simple. Write it down. I swear to God it works. If they, you've all been to that door where you knock and they say, no, I'm not interested, and they shut the door. Or they're trying to look at you through the screen and they're not interested. You say this: what am I supposed to do with the money? Swear to God. What am I supposed to do with the money? Boom! And here's the thing, and they always open it and say, money? What money? Well, I got the last guy right down the road a check for $3,000, and I just want to make sure that you're not losing out on any of this money. And I'm going to take 30 seconds on this. I promise you guys are going to love the story. I'm at the senior home. I buzzed Barbara. She says, hello. Hey, Don Francisco, North American Senior Benefits. We got the card you sent in. Actually, you qualify for the program. Need a couple minutes to go over it with you. You drop this information off. Buzzes me up. I get up there and knock on the door. Knocking 4 times. She's not there. What the heck? Don't mess with me. I'm telling you right now. I went back down and I buzzed her again. I said, Barbara, I was just up there knocking on the door. Yeah, I changed my mind. I don't want to let any men in my apartment. Well, what am I supposed to do with this money? What money? Hang up. This is off the record, guys. I called back about 30 seconds later. I gave the $2,000 to a lady in the lobby. I'll be right down. And I booked the heck out of that parking lot.
It's a true story.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
So that's how to sell your way into the house. Let's talk quickly about once you're in the house. So you said, what do I do with the money? You've gotten into the house. What do you do? How can you be more effective on your presentation? I want to hear from each panelist on maybe, guys, did y'all hear Buddy earlier? I mean, great thought process on his presentation where he talked about getting the client, leading them to the point where they felt like it was their own decision. Everybody loves to buy. Nobody loves to be sold. If they feel like you're selling them, if they feel like you're trying to box them into a corner, even if you are, they may not like that. They may not want to go forward with the purchase. But if they feel like it's their own idea, so let's talk some more about that, just like Buddy leads the client. What are some ways you guys are leading the clients? And, the best way to overcome objections is not to wait till you get them.
Right.
It's to overcome the objections throughout the presentation. So at the end, the client says, you know what? That price looks great. Let me go ahead and with this. In the client's mind, when value exceeds price, you may want to write this down. When value exceeds price, people are going to buy. Think about that with anything you buy. If you wanted Craig Harvey's suit and you felt like the value of that suit was more so than the price, you're going to buy it. Like anything in our life. So, guys, what are some ways you do to build value, to maybe diminish price, to build urgency in the presentation? Let's go to each one. We'll start with Jeremy.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of us can agree that the objections are handled in the presentation. We don't, I remember about a year ago when I got started in this business, I would get the objection of the bank account, the social security number, and I just set up my presentation literally to overcome every objection. So when when it came time to close it down, I shut it down. I closed it, and that was it. But sometimes people just are very guarded. And I've got a story that I tell on the bank account. A guy named Thaddeus Merzen was his name. Came to me in a wheelchair, was in a car wreck, lost his $50,000 life insurance because he was old and stubborn and chose not to have it electronically drafted. It's a true story. And he came to me to help him find life insurance. And every time I tell that story, I get them emotionally engaged, even more so. So there's pauses, there's points that I emphasize, but every single time I say, you don't want to take that gamble on your kids. You can't trust the Postal Service. Sometimes you can't even trust yourself. If you end up in a coma, there's no way you're paying your life insurance. But the point of having your life insurance is to protect your loved ones. That's not something you can take a gamble on. And at that point, it's pretty easy to close it down.
Yeah, guys, you definitely want to be able to use personal stories. You can borrow them from the phone calls. If you don't have any yet, if you don't have family members you can use, we hear them every single day on Craig Harvey's conference call. Borrow the stories to create urgency and put them into the presentation. I've learned that we buy logically based on what we see, but we buy emotionally based on what we hear. Now, the cool thing about our sell is our sell to our clients is both logical and emotional. So if you can hit them from both standpoints, it's going to be much easier to close the sale. Brian, what are some of the keys to your presentation?
Well, I mean, just to kind of reiterate what he said, a good presentation, will overcome objections before you get them. So, what I'll do is, everyone on our team on 300, we all use the same thing. So I'll do an explanation between the difference between term and whole life. So I'll explain term, I'll explain whole life. Now, Ms. Johnson, the great thing about this is this price is locked in forever. Doesn't matter how old you get, doesn't matter if you get sick, this price will never, ever go up. Not only that, but the money that you're paying each month is actually gonna grow bit by bit. And if you ever need any money, if an emergency pops up, you can actually borrow from the cash value that has grown in your whole life policy. Also, Ms. Johnson, this policy is day one coverage. So if something were to happen to you next week, God forbid, you can actually, this will pay again day one. Also, what we're gonna do for you, and Ms. Johnson, people just love this, we're gonna give you this little card. What that card will do, it'll make sure you get the maximum discount on all of your name, brand, and generic prescriptions, prescription glasses, frames, contacts, as well as hearing aids. Okay, and everyone living in your household, Ms. Johnson, can actually use that card. Oh, I see you have a dog there. Actually works on the pets. I get sales from that. People love their pets, right? Also, what I'll do now, when I show her the numbers, I'll show 5 numbers. I'll show a low number first so that I don't give Ms. Johnson sticker shock, right? And then I'll go through the numbers and I say, before I tell her to pick, I'll say, now, just so you know, you don't have to pay anything today. Okay, we can actually push this back a full 30 days for you. I always look at my watch. Today is the 7th. We can push this all the way back to April 7th, Ms. Johnson. Which one of these makes the most sense for you and your budget? I'll look down at the card and just be quiet, let her talk, right? And that's how I overcome the objections before I get her.
Guys, anybody know when you start closing? You really start closing from the second you enter the house. Not that you're going for the sale, not that you're asking for the sale yet, but you're building your case in the warm-up. You're letting the client talk. You're figuring out what their hot buttons are. You're figuring out what's important to them, so then you can build your presentation around that. Because you don't know when you first walk in, you don't know what their hot button is. So when you're trying to sell, maybe it's the nursing home benefit with Transamerica or with Omaha, that may not be their hot button, but maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the terminal illness benefit. And when you find that out, you start closing on things like that. Gary's got a great video on the website, the 5 reasons people don't buy. I think we kind of played, I think Buddy hit on that this morning. You want to study that, guys, that video? The 5 main reasons people don't buy, systematically put them down during the presentation. Garrett, what are some tips on your presentation?
See if people can qualify. That's my big thing. I am a benefits coordinator, and my job is strictly to help you get qualified. How many people has gone into a house and you ask somebody, how's your health? What do they say? It's fine, right? Then you ask the next question, well, what medications do you take? And she said, well, let me go get the list. So then you know they're not fine, right? So when you tell somebody that you're helping them to get qualified, then they put a doubt in their mind that they may not qualify. People want what they can't have. And so a lot of times that's where I go to and say, you know what, I'm going to help you get qualified as best I can. I've got 5 or 6 top carriers that I can try to go with. I'm going to look at all these based off your health, based off your age, based off your gender, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to see if I can get you qualified. If we cannot get you qualified with one of these carriers, there's going to be one of them out there that will get you covered. So that's how I'll go with it.
The 20-20-60 rule, typically 20%. So if you got 5 presentations you give, 5 potential sales, 1 out of 5 is normally a laydown. As long as you don't screw it up, you're going to get the sale. 1 out of 5 usually is not going to buy no matter what. I don't care how good you are. They just either are too sick, too dumb, too broke, just can't, they can't qualify maybe. But you can't beat yourself up on those. The other 3 out of 5, though, that's going to be dependent upon how good you are. It's going to be dependent upon how you can lead the client. It's going to be if you can build enough value. Don, same question. What are some things that you do every presentation that work?
I'll tell you, I know exactly what it is. First, I'd like to congratulate each and every member in the audience today because you currently have more points than Garrett Hollyfield. But I will say it. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face because I believe it. I believe it 100% with all of my heart. In this business, your compassion has to be greater than the commission. And that's going to translate when it's the compassion has to be greater than the commission. The compassion has to be greater than the commission. You know, sometimes when people ride along with me, or I'm sure many of you, this has happened if you're field training somebody, you know, they look at you and say, wow, you're a walking encyclopedia. You know these medicines you know these medicines so good. Wow, you're so good, I'm not as good as you. Here's the reality. The presentation is great. You got to be able to tell between milk, bread, and eggs, and the price never changes. That's easy. If you got an insurance license, you know that already. Craig's just sort of dumbed it down so we can learn it easy and teach it easy. But 99% of it is that warm-up part of the presentation. Because here's the legitimate, this is the facts. If you do a solid warm-up and they like you and they trust you and you're just connecting and they feel the compassion and they don't smell the commission. They feel the compassion, they don't smell the commission. This is what you can literally say. Mrs. Johnson, I like you so much. I'm kind of new at this. As a matter of fact, when it comes to insurance, I'm an idiot. But I like you and I really want to help you. Let me call somebody so I know that you're getting the best program. I promise you, if they like you and they trust you, they're buying from you. Doesn't matter what you know. So anybody that's new that says, I'm not as good as this guy or I'm not as good as that guy, I'm almost said that's you know what, but it's not. Warm the crap up. Love your client. And make that sale. Close it.
All right, guys, we got a few minutes left. Let's get into some objections.
I pulled way ahead.
Objections that you may get during the presentation. Now, remember, your goal is to put them down throughout so you don't get any at the end, but we all are going to still get some from time to time at the end of the presentation. Let's say they say no money. Whoever wants this, Garrett, Brian, Jeremy, we just don't have any money.
Yeah, you don't have any money. You know what? These state-regulated programs are actually geared towards folks that are on a fixed income or that have had some health problems in the past, and maybe it's prevented them from getting some sort of coverage. So what we want to do is we want to formulate a program that's geared towards you being on a fixed income. There are starter programs that are available, and on that day when you die and your loved ones are scrounging to find money, $2,000 or $3,000 is going to go a long way for your family.
All right, anybody else on no money? Or let's just say they look at the price, you show them 3 options, and they say, gosh, that just looks too high for me. Now, what they're really saying is you haven't built enough value. If in their mind the value had exceeded the price, they would do it. But let's say they say, man, Don, Garrett, Brian, that's too much money for me. I don't think I want that.
I go back into the presentation again. I go right back in there and I just start trying to crack a joke with them. I'll go back in and reiterate everything I just did just to warm them back up. Because just like Jordan said, you have not warmed up quick enough, or you've warmed up too quick and you haven't warmed up enough with them. Go back into it and then ask again. I ask 3 times. If I get 3 no's, then I'm coming back in a week. But I'll get 3. I get 3 no's before I have to get out of the door.
All right, how about the dreaded? Let me think about this. Can you leave some information? I appreciate you showing me this. Looks pretty good. Let me just think about it for a week or 2.
Okay, well, I understand you have to think about it, but let's not put the cart before the horse. Just like you have to think about it, Ms. Johnson, these insurance companies, they have to think about you and see if we can get you approved. So let's, the first step, let's go ahead and get this approval. And then once you are approved, I'll come back, show you the policy, go through it with you. That way you can make an educated decision on what it is you want to do.
All right. How about I don't make spur-of-the-moment decisions? Man, it looks good. I probably do this. I just never do anything on the spot. Anybody? I can't stump all 4 of you guys.
No, I would say if they say, you know, I don't do anything on the spot, kind of back to what Brian said, you know, this is not something that you can put the cart before the horse. This isn't a flyer that you get in the mail that has a rate chart that tells you what you're going to get. This is legitimate, and this is something that you actually have to qualify for. Now, I'm not the underwriter with the company. I am the local benefits coordinator, so trust and believe I'm going to help you get there, but we have to see first if you're even going to get approved before we go any further.
Okay, what about, let's do a couple more. Need to shop around. Man, that looks good, but I never just jump in. I want to shop around a few other companies, Globe, AARP, Colonial Penn. Let me shop around.
Well, again, I am licensed through the state of Texas, Ms. Johnson. We deal with all the top carriers in the state. So what I'm doing and what I have done for you is I've shopped that price around. Again, we deal with Transamerica, Americoa, Surety, Balt Life, Kemper, 5-Star, NGL, a lot more. And the price that I've given you, Ms. Johnson, for your particular situation, you're not going to beat that. What day next month would you like that to start?
Love it. All right, how about one of the last ones? Let's say you're doing a replacement before we get back to Craig. Replacement situation, let's say it makes all the sense. Let's say it's just logical for them to replace, maybe lower price you can offer, cash back, but they feel committed or they feel almost obligated to the company they've had. Everybody's had situations like this. They've been paying into it for 7 years. It makes sense to go with you, but they say, Don, man, I'm just going to keep what I've got. I paid into this term plan for 7 years. I don't want to lose what I paid into it.
Yeah, I've had it where people have said, well, I really like my agent. I don't want him to feel bad. And I always say, you know what? Your agent did the best that he could at the moment. But the disadvantage that your agent had was that he didn't work with my company. And it's not that your agent didn't give you the best that he had. It's just that he didn't have these new programs. So, and I'll say, if you can buy milk for $3 right now across the street, why would you keep driving 4 miles down the road to pay $4? Something like that. And if that's a like and trust. You just got to make them like and trust you in that moment more than they like and trust him.
As clients, ultimately, they want to feel appreciated. They also want to be right. So, again, as Buddy talked about, if you can let the client believe it was their decision, if you can lead them to that point, it's going to lead to more sales. The last thing I'll say, this is Believe Conference. The more you believe in what you're selling, it's going to transfer to the client. We've heard Craig talk about on the calls that all selling is a transference of feeling. If you really believe in what you're selling, if you really believe in the product, and you believe enough that you can transfer that feeling to the client, you're going to get more sales, you're going to close more business, you're going to overcome these objections that we went through, and ultimately, actually, you won't even get the objections because throughout the presentation, your belief is going to be so high that at the end of it, the client says, why wouldn't I do this? Why wouldn't I go ahead and start a plan? With that said, give it up, guys, for the Agent of the Year panel.